Welcome, welcome everybody to another episode of the Paranormal Rangers. And as you can see, it's me, Michelle Miners. How are you? Today we have an interesting and special show. We're bringing on another guest that we've had before. And today she is coming on. Her name is Judy Sakanay. And as you know, she's exploring the Bigfoot legend, and as well as we are. And we have an opportunity to go to Toronto, Canada, to explore the Bigfoot and the interactions and the connections that her tribe and the participants around her area, her community, interact with. So today I'd like to introduce Judy Sakanay.
Hi, Michelle. It's great to be here on your show once more.
Thank
I
you
really
for
enjoy
coming
it.
on. Appreciate it. I know we've all had these busy schedules lately, and we're so grateful that you could get on with us for this episode. We've had the other two rangers are either one's delayed and the other one's in travel. So that's Stan again, once again in travel. So, but we're so grateful to have you here and to share with you what's coming up in Toronto, Canada. Can you share
Oh,
that
my
with us?
goodness. Yeah, so we have the third annual Ochiskachokatekahekano conference, Bigfoot Will Heal Us, coming up this and next week. Oh, my gosh. May 30th. May 31st and June 1st. June 1st is the kickoff for the Aboriginal month here in Canada. So that's why I designate that weekend to kick off that event with that intention of the starting off the Aboriginal month here that we celebrate here in Canada. It starts on June 1st. So that's why I picked that weekend to
Oh,
do
that's
this. And yeah, so it's coming up next week. Oh my goodness. And so exciting. It's exciting.
yeah. I'm looking forward to having us and the Rangers go be a participants in that conference, and we are looking forward because we've got some really exciting things going to be happening up there, aren't we, Judy? Like we've planned this particular event for quite some time, and you've done a lot of work, so we appreciate you. But today our audience is very interested about your relationship to the Bigfoot, and in your community you take a look at him in a very different way from what we do here in the States, because we pretty much have a fear factor going on. And when I went
Mhm.
to the conference last year, I gained a great respect for your community and for you being a medicine woman. That's how I look at you, is sort of a medicine woman type person. And the healing feeling that I came back with, the energy that was so positive. If you'd like to share with the audience what you guys
Yeah,
experienced up there.
yeah, for sure. So when I share my story about my interactions with this clan in along the Ottawa River, um, they came to me while I was doing a pipe ceremony. And it was very interesting, when the first one came when I was doing the pipe ceremony. And then the second day, I'm just the gist of it, what happened, how I was introduced to each of those clan members. The second day, the older one came along with the young one, and then after that, the third day they both came in. Were there while I was doing a pipe ceremony. And I asked them, I want to meet your clan mother. So the next time I came, the clan mother came. She showed herself there. And then I said, I want to meet your grandmother. So the grandmother came and she was there. And then all other members came. Then the leader was last. He came last. He showed
Interesting.
himself last. But in that way, he showed me through a vision that he was the leader. And after my interactions with them, I started painting them because I was guided to paint them through my grandson, my oldest grandson, that he told me we have to start painting. And when I listened to those little messages from him, it's a message from him and his higher self, spirit. So when I said, I'm like, oh wow, I never painted before. So when him and I were painting, I painted them. I painted them how I saw them. And I never painted before, like, like that in my life. I'm not a painter. I've never been an artist. My other family members can paint and draw, but I couldn't. I couldn't even draw stickmen. So now my artwork is based on how I see them and how I interact with them and how they come to me. So, so that's what my paintings are about. And then the conference came about when I started painting them. My friend, she said, I see your artwork in an art gallery. I said, why wait for that? We're Anishinaabe women. We're resilient. We're strong. And we can do this ourselves. Why wait for an art gallery? Let's do it ourselves. Let's do our own art exhibit, and we could, put my paintings up there, your paintings, and everyone's, and then we could focus on them, the clan, and their teachings. Because in our teachings, they have the Cree, the Ojibwe. We all have teachings. All nations are across the world. All indigenous people have teachings on these spiritual beings. So that's how this conference came to be, and about them. And I'm still painting. My paintings are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and with more interactions. And now they're showing. They have taught me a lot over the year. Um, and this year's conference, we're going to reveal that not only me, but the other guest speakers that are coming, that had this um, we have this relationship with these beings, with these clans in their areas. And what's more interesting is that some of the clans that in those areas, say for South Carolina, for instance, they were speaking Cree. And I'm there like, hey, they're speaking Cree, man. Like, so that was another whole new different teaching for me that they were doing. So this conference is going to be more exciting, the more gifts that they do that we'll share and how they appear for us, and we're going to demonstrate that again with the tools and how they use the tools as well. And last year we used 1,000 rods, and I have a feeling we're going to do that again. I really want to, because all these hangers are coming to me and they're filling up my trunk there. And then we're going to show another way how we communicate them, how they communicate with us. And we're going to demonstrate that this year with the other speakers that we've been doing along. Because we were going in Zooms almost every week. First, we started every bi-weekly. And then going out to the land and, just having my camera on and just seeing them spiritually was like, wow. So they're showing themselves in a different way now. They're teaching us more ways of how they communicate with us. They're so cool. And it's all about healing. And that's what it's about. It's about the healing techniques they use, their structures, and even the language and other gifts that they leave us, and how they show themselves out there other than the physical.
Well, so, yeah. I want to say hello to John. John, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Jonathan. Yes,
hi. Hello. Yeah, I got caught up working on my truck outside and lost all track of time.
That happens.
Jonathan, I just finished a medicine teaching with youth, and I just finished it right now, and I explain even the medicines, how like the Bigfoot or Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them in your language, Kisasabe, Ochiskacho, like how they bring the medicines to us too. So I taught the youth that just a while ago, just a couple minutes before, right when Michelle called me, and I was just finishing up, and I ran in my car and said, and I saw the youth. That's why I was waving there earlier, because two of them just walked by, just waving by to them. So, it was really interesting how they were paying attention and they learned something. And that really touched my heart, and knowing that, and knowing how the Gichisabe works with us in that way, using the medicine itself. So I was teaching them that.
It's all about our culture. And that's been denied for so long by the different governments. And they basically said you can't even live on the reserve
Yes.
if you go outside and go to school. Um, they had all kinds of rules, and most of them were designed to eliminate our culture. And so now we're seeing that culture being retaught slowly.
And hence this show, because we want to bring forth the knowledge and teach people that we don't fear the phenomena, we embrace it, and it might be startling once we have those experiences, but we should be embracing. Would you say they're ancestral bloodlines, even the Sasquatch or the Bigfoot?
Some are, some are.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say that because, one of the guest speakers, I don't know how much that person want to reveal that much, but all I can say is some are. And we also talked about the past life thing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of related in a way. We're going to touch base on that part as well. And some of the speakers and I were talking about that, like the past lives, because I believe in past lives. I know because I do ceremonies as well. I do past life regressions in a way with people in the ceremonies of what their past life was before, what they need to let go, whatever reason. But when you could tap into that, when I mean tapping in, going into ceremony and seeking guidance, and then you see the past life and where it's all connected, so I'm going to say that yes, we are, and they are they are people too. They are, I was thinking about the science part of it too. The DNA testing has been tested, and especially one particular doctor, I really follow her work and I really support her, and I hope one day we could bring her to the conference, and because that was the message a couple years ago for me, was that the science, and I was like, I don't believe in science, science, blah blah, even though I ate science in high school, but I still didn't believe that. I still don't want to believe in science like that. Well, because they always try to prove something. They always want to prove something of our existence, of our culture, or our
Mm-hmm.
heritage, or what we believe in our ceremonies and things like that. They always want a science reasoning. So I was like, the message came through saying one day science will help, well, work together with spirituality. And that I'm there like, really? Do I have to? And then that's when I start learning that about the DNA, and the DNA testing that was done, and by a doctor, and she did a pretty good job. And I start following her work, and hopefully one year we can get her on at the conference to show people the science part of it. Because some people still want to see a natural picture, a body, or whatever. But all I can say is just get in tune to yourself and go out there in the woods, park, anywhere, and get connected spiritually with the spirits around you in the natural environment on Mother Earth, and then you'll raising your vibration level like that. Well, you will help you connect with these spiritual beings, not only Bigfoot, but every other spiritual being out there. That's part of our culture. That's part of our teachings. Like I'm talking about the other ones, and that's why I added the word Wahaktoan in our conference title, because we're going to be talking about everything about the little people, the fairies, the mermaids, the dragons, everything that appeared to us in the past year, and bring our culture back to it, how we were once connected with them before contact and before the reservation, which I called concentration camps, if I'm allowed to say that. But that's the way I see it. And that's because when I was teaching the youth here about the medicines, like I always believed what they were teaching me in school. I always got kicked out of history class because I'm the one that spoke up and say, no, sorry, we did not starve. Our ancestors never starved because we knew every plant out there, how to
Mm-hmm.
survive. in every environment and every terrain. We knew how to survive. Our ancestors knew that. And and interacting with these spiritual beings, so through ceremony or through whatever, it's because we the lost time that we had, the disconnected through what Jonathan was saying earlier about the government doing things to our people. It's us returning to our culture and our heritage and our teachings and bringing those forward for the next generation. Because I praise those youth there inside there. I go, another message came through and saying like the younger generation will learn quicker now because of our healing, what we've been doing at our age, because when I was their age, man, I was like pretty wild. Like, I was like, not learning things, not doing things and stuff like that. And, yeah, you could just leave it there. Yeah. Mhm. And, sorry about that. It was the youth there.
That's okay.
And, so I start when I praise them that, like, and then I mentioned about my grandchildren going to their their grandfather's house and learning how to chop wood, learning how to maintain a fire. It they loved it, and they loved it. So even that itself, connecting with spirit, even building a fire, is a start for our people, and gives me hope, and gives me hope for humanity too, and our survival of our culture and our heritage as Anishinaabe people, Native people, indigenous people of this world.
Judy, it was really interesting. I returned home from a recent trip that I took to an indigenous community myself, and there is a loss of balance. So today we're living in a concrete environment, and so what you're doing is you're out there teaching to get back in balance. And this community I was in a country, they live within their own environment. They're happy, they sustain themselves. Although there are poor people, there are no homeless, meaning they take
Mm-hmm.
care of each other. And we used to do that as Native Americans. We used to have that balance. And that's why people today, I think, are looking for that information to get back to a balance when things are just
Mm-hmm.
kind of going crazy in our world. And, John constantly talks about how he doesn't trust the military or the government. Um, but he's right, because we're being told what to do, and when we're not imparting our knowledge and the truth of who we really are.
You are absolutely right on that, and like even with me saying, like telling the youth, like in high school history class, I get kicked out, and bringing
Hmm.
the balance of even the conference itself. I got two MCs, that's a male and female, and you know the first MC I had for the event had to cancel, which is fine. And then I asked my friend, and then first I asked the other guy. He said, "Yeah, sure." And then I asked my other friend who is female, and she goes, "We're gonna bring the balance." I go, "Oh my God, yes, you are." We got the female, and even though like they may have lack of experience of emceeing, but I told them it's gonna go great. You guys, these guys got this, and I'll be around too to help you too. And I'll be help these guys prepare. But when we think about that, like the balance of it, even the whole conference, like of us there, the knowledge that we will bring forward to for the people, and other people has came forward a lot and told me their stories and shared me with their stories, then without being ridiculed or like or teased or making look like they're crazy, and they we're creating a safe space for them as well to come share their stories as well, and share their culture about their teachings or whatever they may want to share and their interactions. That just 2 days ago, a youth told me about her experience, and it was so beautiful. And I hope I get this. I asked her, "Are you coming to the conference?" Because that is such a beautiful. Because there's more to it, like and that's another thing that we're going to be doing too, is interpreting people's experiences
Mhm.
with them, and by that we work with spirit. And I think I asked Pat McRae to do that with me and my friend Johanna, um, joining White Buffalo. So I asked them to, let's do that for them. Let's interpret their interaction, what their sighting meant. Because there are some people that just have one sighting and that's it, right?
Mhm.
And there are some people that just interacts with them constantly and everywhere. They're everywhere. And and even this morning when I left my where I stayed, I took a picture of Robin because I was thinking about my late mom, and my mom always sends me robins, and so I knew that robin. She sent me that robin, and so I was taking a picture. So I took a picture of the robin, and my friend was there, and she came out, and I told her, okay, I gotta go to work and stuff, and then this afternoon when I was looking at that picture, I could see them sitting there in the trees. In the trees. They're like, oh my God, there they are. They're right there. And I sent that to my friend, one of the other speakers. I go, check this out. They were just right there. That robin was there. I was really taking a picture of the robin. And then they were there in the background. You don't notice them because when you're in that zone, like that thinking, when
Mhm.
you're praying, and for me, it was my mother, my late mother, and seeing that robin, I knew it was from her. But then there in the background, there in the picture, so how they help us, how they help our loved ones on the other side that way, if that makes sense. And even seeing them in there, because to me that looked like a mother and a child there sitting there, and it was just like a projection, with my mother, with Robin and me. Like, so when I connect those things, and I showed my friend that, and then I showed my friend that's back there staying at where we're staying, and she's like, "Oh my God, whoa, never cool." I go, "Yeah, they're everywhere. They're just everywhere." Because we need it at that time, for
Mhm.
me, like I was still in my grief, losing my mother after 11 years. Like, it's we're still grieving, and how they help us heal from that grief, and seeing them in that picture of that robin just really brighten up my day, and showing the mother and the child.
Do you want to hear a coincidence? I was had a chiropractic appointment this morning, and I was pulling it out around 8:30, and guess what it was on? It was there was a puddle in front of my house because it rained, and
Hmm.
a robin was drinking out of the puddle.
There you go. See?
Yeah. Your I don't know if your mom came to visit, but, I don't know what the significance of the robin means to your mother
Yeah,
or
and
to
it's
you.
it's the teaching that she taught me when I was younger, about
Okay.
how the robin had the red dress there,
Yes. Yeah.
and from the bear and stuff. She gave me that teaching of that. And that's what, the significance of the robin, of her connection with the robin and me, and just, and everyone's going to be different,
It's
so
beautiful.
like how they, and it's funny that you like, and that's how with my mom, people I work with, like she will send those messages as well when we just connect them after. It's no coincidences, right? So that really lightens up my heart to hear that. Makes me feel a lot better on things, and stuff like that. And look at this, like I have a picture in my car, and this is my picture of my mom and dad, and just staring at me, smiling. So, like stuff like that, like it's no coincidence. Like this picture is just suddenly facing me all the time. It's like facing the other way. So it's really nice to see that and feel that energy, and see those kind of messages, and even like working with the clan and things like that, like even them speaking the language, speaking Cree, the other clans in different regions.
Hmm.
They do have different nations as well, just like us. I'm Cree, you're Navajo, and I was gonna say Cheyenne, and
Ojibwe. I'm Ojibwe. I'm part of
yeah,
your clan
Ojibwe,
too.
Chippewa. So
Hmm.
you see, like those connections is just wow, it's just amazing how we all work together, how we are one, even with them. They're the same as well. They have clans, they have
Hmm.
nations, different nations, and that's what I think that's be one of my next projects is mapping out their nations. Like us here, up here, we're the Cree. Down
Hmm.
there, there's Navajo. Same with them. They have different nations, different regions. So imagine connecting with them and just asking them. And that's where I'm being guided. My next couple of projects coming is the mapping of these nations. Just like ours, we have different nations. And same with them. They have different nations and different regions and like I hear some people they migrate. I go, no, they're actually trading with other nations, like our ancestors did. We traded one with another. One was going to. There's a traveler, we call them, I think, going visiting other nations, trading because I believe one time they found I think it was clay up north in
You kind of went mute on us.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, someone was calling me in. So I thought that was you guys. I thought I disconnected. But anyway, that's what I think that's one of my next projects is gonna be. Like I wanna go and travel and connect with these. Like I don't even have to travel, just connect right there and they'll show me a map because I think it started off and I should have bought that painting, which I didn't bring it with me, but that map is like it represents the turtle island and it's the Sasquatch behind it as a turtle. So I didn't bring that painting with me because I'm traveling right now and had workshops here and stuff like that. So I didn't bring it, but I should have. I was sitting there, but that's one of my next projects is mapping their nations, just like
Hmm.
us, the Cree territory, and their responsibilities. So when I hear like researchers saying like, yeah, they migrate, I don't think they're migrating. I think they're trading with other nations to trade or intermarry one another.
It's interesting.
Start another clan, or another nation and intermarry. It's just like the Cree and Ojibwe. We're the only two nations that intermarry that combine a language together.
Hmm.
So with them, they still have their own languages and their own ways of
Dialect.
communication. Yes, yeah,
Yeah, because based on the region
and
they come from.
and
Hey,
they
John.
all know each other.
Oh, that's really
They
interesting.
all know each other. It's really really cool how they they know one another because I believe it's the traveling the inter traveling together, inter trading with one another and things like that. The work that they're doing with other human beings, not just with just me, but other humans out there that people are coming forward now that they are communicating with them in so many different levels. So that's going to be really interesting this year to talk about that because I asked all my speakers like okay, no holding back. We're not going to hold
Yeah,
back anything this
yeah,
year.
so true, so true. We've all
Yeah.
had our experiences. John, did you have anything for her that you're inquiring about or thinking in your mind? I can see the cogs turning.
Well, you mentioned migration, and the non-natives for a long, long time has said, well, the natives migrated. And so they weren't actually in any of the Americas. They came over the land bridge and slowly trickled down from North America to South America. And so they're all related, um, you know. And I always looked at that and I thought, our histories, our oral histories tell us that we've always been here. And
Hmm.
we had scientists tell us that the people have only been here uh, about maybe 30,000 years on the continent, North America, South America, Central America, and that and yet we have stories from 50,000 years ago of
Mhm.
events that occurred.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
that scientists confirm that those events occurred 50,000 years ago. And our oral histories talk about these events, and other tribes in the area talk about the same events. And so I'm going, okay, so what's wrong with these numbers?
Yeah.
Also, herd mentality says that animals migrate. This is why you have elk migrating, you have deer migrating, you have all these animal species that move. Lately, we've got a hummingbird feeder outside the window, and the hummingbirds are coming back from Costa Rica, and they're migrating to the north. Now, when it gets cold up here, they'll migrate and go sun themselves on the beaches at Costa Rica. Hopefully ice doesn't come and pick them up and deport them. But we're happy to see them again, because it just brings great joy to watch them, fighting over the feeder and trying to drive each other off.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so we have a regular feeding station here.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is that our culture talks about us being here since the world was created. And every tribe has that same story.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
yet everybody else says, "Oh, you weren't here." Even here in the States, the government is making sounds like even Native Americans, you know, are not citizens of the United States. And we're going, what? We were here first. And but that's happened before, because for you guys, citizenship didn't happen until 1961. For us, it
Mhm.
was, I believe it was the late 40s that they finally
Mhm.
gave Native Americans citizenship. So all during World War One and World War Two, when our people fought in those wars,
Mhm.
they weren't even recognized citizens, and
Mhm.
yet we fought. And even today, as a group of people, as a culture, we have more people that join the military today than anybody else,
Mhm.
that any other ethnic origin. And so
Mhm.
it's I just find it almost paradoxical that we would be denegated to the point that even our existence is questioned today. And I just keep saying, well, we're survivors, and we
Yes,
will
we are.
continue to survive, and we will continue to honor our culture and our traditions.
Absolutely. I mean, we just got over the pandemic that just occurred. I mean, we're still here, even though it took a lot of our native brothers and sisters out, and
Mhm.
but we're still here. We're existing, and I know we got disseminated from 5,000 tribes to 550 registered tribes today. And that's not very many, but we're still here and we're going to keep on fighting, right, Jonathan?
Well, we're going to keep on existing, um,
Yes.
because because that's what we do. We survive,
Yeah,
and our people are a tough people. So that's just how we are. That's ingrained into our DNA.
well, I like
Yes.
that Judy interacts with these this clan, because we want to say aliens, entities, Bigfoots. We want to give it a name so that we have tangible in our mind how to deal with this. And but even in our history and our religion, we talk about the ant people. There was a cataclysmic event, and the Navajos were taken down into the earth by these ant people, and
Mhm.
that's how we survived as a people, when another species came and assisted us in keeping our bloodlines going.
Yeah.
We were talking about that earlier with the DNA.
Yeah.
And here we are
It's
when we came back to
yeah.
the
Mhm.
surface. I'm sure you have creation stories like that as well with the
Yeah, we
Ojibwe.
do. We do, and
Great.
then when our ancestors are the star people.
Mhm.
We do have familiar history and stories that our nations carry, and same with them. They have their own stories as well, where they come from, or part of them. The other half. And with that being said, like John, what you're saying, like we are sovereign people. We always have been, and we're citizens of our own nation. And that's what I always, you know, trying to drill in my kids. We are sovereign people. We are citizens of our own nation, and the assimilation process, like it is still ongoing. And
Mhm.
with these connecting with these beings, like these people, the Sabe people, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call them in their language, they mean the same. You know, we connect with them because they want us to return. That was one of the main messages, is to return to our cultural ways, to return to ceremony, return. And I believe, like, when I first saw one, I was probably like about 18 or 19. I can't remember, but that's my first time ever seeing one in the physical. And I thought it was a tree stump. Start walking. And then I turned around, and my face must have given away, because my sister asked me, like, what did you see? And I looked at her and I said, I saw Bigfoot. And she goes, I believe you. Then, it was like, it is shocking when you first see one in a
Yep.
physical.
Yep.
It is. And knowing, but I always knew they were always around. I just knew that they were involved here. Like, it's just our people talked about them. So I always knew that they were here. It wasn't just some made up story or whatever. I always knew they were here. Even when we were younger, like those in the snow, the people had other kids had those snowshoes that looked like Bigfoot. Like,
Oh,
even
that's
back
cute.
then, we thought, like, I'd go running home. Hey, I just saw Bigfoot tracking them down down the road, and like, I didn't mean, like, I was probably like only 8 or 9 at the time, and I already knew what it was, like, and then my mom's like, oh, no, no, they won't be here in town. It's just someone with those fake little snowshoe things shaped as a Bigfoot. That's what it was. But now when I think about it, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't. So I will never know, but I don't want to tap into that. But I'm just going to leave it like that, because sometimes you just want to just leave it. And that's fun. It's fun when I think about that kind of stuff, and then I see the tracks and get more teachings about them, how they do their own healing, how they help us in the ceremonies. Because I do ceremonies as well, like either sweats, shake tent, or whatever ceremony we
Mhm.
do. They come in the spiritual realm to help us heal for any given purpose in there.
So
Whatever
we're
the
going to get the opportunity to be in one of those this time when we're
I
with
hope
you.
so. Yeah, we could do a
Yeah.
shake tank too, and
Yeah.
or some. We won't know till the day comes, and then the message will say what they'll guide us, what ceremony we need to do.
Oh, yeah.
So
That'd be
yeah,
awesome.
even a shake tent would be fun.
Yeah.
They would
Yeah.
love that. Even like with bringing the medicines to you. Excuse me. They have that ability to bring the medicines to you, because they have that ability to go interdimensional, and to bring medicine. So I was telling the youth there, I was like, when we work with them and you really need this medicine, you can go out and offer your tobacco, offer and ask them what kind of medicine. They will bring it to you. And they will bring it to you, because they're the only ones that can go interdimensional, that can bring that medicine into the physical. And some people have seen that even with rocks. They put rocks there. You just turn around, and next time you turn around, there'll be rocks there, and then the strands of grass along the rocks, like, that's for healing purposes. So those kind of experiences that we're going to be sharing, people will be sharing. I'll be sharing even more, like, even like how they come in just to say hi to you, interdimensional, into that spiritual realm. Some people might call it paranormal, but I call it like they're just visiting. It's funny because that little quiet when I went a little bit, someone was calling me, and it was John D'Souza. So I'm there like,
Oh,
I'm like, oh my God, John D'Souza just trying to call me, and so I had to call him back, and because I'm supposed to do something, and then
Judy, tell us who John D'Souza. We had him in our show when we were on
yeah.
Crossroads. But explain who John D'Souza is and why he's so important to this work.
Okay. I've been a fan of John D'Souza for years. I've been following him, probably watch every YouTube channel about him because I just loved his teachings. I loved his knowledge. I loved the stories that he shared. And also with you too, Jonathan, like, not only like you and but John D'Souza, yes, I followed him. I loved his teachings. I loved what he talked about interdimensional beings, which is I go, wow, our people known that for a long time. And then then I just contacted him. He's a former FBI agent that used to work with the paranormal files in his work at the FBI. Just something like what Jonathan and the Rangers and Jonathan and Stan were doing in Navajo Rangers. He was dealt with those kind of files as well, working with the paranormal. So, and then reading his book, I read part of his book and I go, wow, I understand. I know exactly what he's talking about. And I like the fact that he has this knowledge, ways of protecting yourself from these other beings, because not all of them are good. It's just like us humans. Not all of us humans are good. We have not so good intentions, lower energy, I call them, like vibrational, that people think differently or to hurt one another or whatever. I call them um lower energy intentions, that, and same with them. Some of those beings have those lower energy that's not good for our higher good. So that's what I love about John D'Souza. He's a former FBI agent. He's going to be joining us, and he's going to do a presentation. He's going to have his books with him. What else he's going to do? He's going to well, last time we had on the show, we just blew him away too. So he was like, "Whoa, I don't even know what to talk about at Judy's conference now." But we gave him a different insight too, So
Right.
as being indigenous too, because I believe his mother, his late mother, is indigenous to Ecuador in South America.
I think he
So
on the show he realized he was an indigenous. He always looked at him as being a South American Hispanic, and he goes, "Oh, I am indigenous."
yeah, it's
Yeah, that was
when I was
really
talking on the phone
interesting.
with him the first time. I go,
Yeah,
John, you're indigenous too. He's like, oh yeah, I am. And I
yeah,
go,
yeah. That
start
was
saying who you are.
exciting
Like
for him.
it's honoring the matriarch, right? His
Right.
mother, his late mother.
That's
Yeah, so I
great.
can't wait to meet him. I wanted to go to one of his events before, but I couldn't. Something always came up. So, and then I just inquired. I just reached out and say, hey, said who I was, what we do here, and I'm just inquiring about your face, like I did to you guys with you guys, right? And then his wife responded, Bella, and said, "Yeah, John would love this." Oh, okay, well, how much will your fees cost?
Yeah,
And that's how
yeah.
we got the conversation going, and then we start, and then we um talked about it, what he could bring to the table, what he could bring to the conference and stuff like that. And he's just another like wow, like another human being doing the good work, connecting and want to help others to connect and protect ourselves too. Because when we use say protect, like we have these medicine pouches, we have tobacco, we carry a rock, we carry
Hmm.
sweetgrass or cedar, or put cedar in our shoes and stuff like that to protect us. John has other ways to do that too, to bring what we need to bring protect. So I asked him if he can share that with the people so people can be prepared on what's coming. Like we talked about the military, what the government early, what they plan to do to to create the fear in people to have that control. But now we're raising our vibration, we're raising our energy levels, and we're starting to be awakened. And once we are awakened, who do we go to once we awake? Like that's why we create these safe places like this conference to share your story, to understand. And more people, like I said, more people, even our own people, are coming to me and sharing their stories, and because they didn't want to share before. Even back home, like last year, people living around Cochrane, which I knew, this one guy was coming around my booth all the time, and I picked it up right away. And I went over and talked to him and said, "Yeah, you got them coming around your house, eh?" He looked at me with big eyes looking around and he goes, "Yes." I go, "Yeah." I go, so I helped him, you know, how to, what they want, what they do want to do with you, what you need to do, and things like that. And they're protecting, like, so and he goes, "Oh, okay, I knew they were around, but I wasn't too sure. And I didn't tell anybody. They think I'm crazy." And I go, "No, you're not." And then, because he was kept on walking by my booth, looking at my items, my merchandise. And I'm like, and then I'm like, finally I went over and talked to him.
Yeah, you
And
have a
that,
safe place for him. You know what I
yeah.
found really remarkable? We were having on that panel last year, and that matron, I elder, she's told the story about how in her village that Sasquatch came to her because all the people were fearing, and he was walking in the middle of the street and knocked on her door.
Mm-hmm.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? I just was so impressed with, and she was telling everybody, you got to get your act together.
Yes, and that's basically what the message is, and to return to our culture, because every nation out there is facing an epidemic of opiates or some form of drugs.
Mhm,
And that's what the message was for her people, is because the reserves are being like becoming addicted, I guess, with these
mhm.
opiates and stuff like coming into the reserve. And she said that was a message for her people, because to return to our culture, to return to ceremonies for healing. And they came to her to give her that message for the people. And I haven't
Jonathan,
seen her, but hopefully she'll be at the conference this year.
I really had a lot of respect when
Yeah.
she, shared that story, because that's
Yeah.
something that a grandmother would sit down with their grandchild and say, "Hey, I had this experience." Whether people believe it or not is up to them, but
Yeah.
it touched me. It touched me,
Hmm.
and she brought a really good feeling to her story, and I could tell that she was speaking her truth.
Yeah.
And that
She
was what.
was. I did try to call her, but I guess she changed her number, and so hopefully I get to see her. Hopefully she'll come back this year, and because
She's
I don't even know anybody that knows her that we could get connected and things like that. Because I do want to, for her to share that, and because
mhm.
that's a very important message. How they came to her to tell her the communities are being sick with
Or
this
losing their
epidemic.
way. I think
Yeah,
that's what she said.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That impressed me so much, and she did it very respectfully. She wasn't like, "I got a story to share, but if you don't mind, could I share a story about the
Mm-hmm.
Bigfoot?" And then we were all just encapsulated in her story and like, encaptured by the
Yeah.
message that she had. So, you know, John, any last stories or something you would like to share or ask?
I was going to say culture wise, I'm Southern Cheyenne. I'm what they used to call Kiowa Apache, but they call it Apache Tribe of Oklahoma. I'm Navajo, and I'm part Filipino. And in all those cultures, when I grew up in Los Angeles, and in Los Angeles, there's a lot of different cultures, and so I grew up around a lot of different types of cultures down there,
Mm-hmm.
and we knew we were Native American, but we didn't know that much about it. We heard the family stories and things like that. but you just kind of, you're a kid, you dismiss that stuff and you don't think about it. Later on, I started getting curious and I started doing the research into the history. And then I became a ranger and I had to know a lot about Navajo culture. It was actually part of the test to become a ranger. And
Mm-hmm.
so I started actually studying Navajo culture and reading books and talking to elders and learning as much as I could. And I took that
Mm-hmm.
same deal and went into the histories of all my different peoples. And so I've been pretty grounded. My daughter's looking up a lot of the Filipino side of the family because they lost all contact during World War II after the Japanese occupation. And we learn more and more about our history. And
Mm-hmm.
so I know Michelle always calls me the historian. That was the reason for that was
Mm-hmm.
I had to find out for myself.
Yeah.
And I would tell everybody out there that's listening, research your history. Some of them dead end, but you have to keep looking and
Yeah.
you'll find other routes around those impossible roadblocks and you'll get more information.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Definitely.
Jonathan. We're getting
Definitely.
close to our show, but I just wanted to say thank you to Judy for coming back on. And Judy, give your say it again with the conference that you're putting on, third annual conference up in Toronto, Canada. So anybody out there in the audience is nearby, come hear us speak
Yeah,
and
it's gonna be at
share.
16 Spadina Road, the Native Canadian Center of Toronto building. I like it to have it there because they have like a fire pit that we can have a sacred fire there during the conference, and it's all like cultural related because that's how we do ceremonies. We do a sacred fire. We kick it off with the fundraiser that Friday evening, just to pay the expenses of the the expenses of the filmers, the film producing the food, the lodging, and all that things. And then yeah, we're gonna have a moose meat dinner, and I'm thinking of adding buffalo too as well. I'm gonna contact my friend who has a buffalo farm, see if he has any buffalo meat, and see and then the moose meat as well. And then we kick it off with that with Tracy Bone too as entertainer. Entertainment. She's going to be singing and performing a few songs, and she's a Juno nominee back in the day. Like she still sings. She's a fabulous, wonderful singer. She's going to be also emceeing along with Ian Snyder, and well, emceeing the weekend, and we're going to kick off with that, and then we start the day with a pipe ceremony and, of course, igniting the sacred fire, and then we start the conference. So everyone is welcome to that to attend. The conference is free, but the gala night, we're just asking for donations. You could even sponsor someone, meaning that if when they sponsor someone, it's 50% off. So they can even sponsor, two friends could even sponsor themselves. It's like a 2-for-1, right? So why not? Like because some people like were messaging me and saying, "Oh, I can't afford your conference, it's too much." I go, "Well, what are you talking about? The conference is free to attend. It's the gala that we're asking tickets. It's just a fundraiser part to up to pay up the costs of the expenses of the extra that we don't have from the conference itself funding, which the city of Toronto funded us, the indigenous part of that funded the only the conference part. And then I asked them, would it be a conflict of interest if I do fundraising? They said, no, by all means, go ahead. So that's the part that's going to cost, is the gala part, which is going to be Tracy Bone performing. These guys will be on there. John D'Souza. And who else do we have? Oh, and then the meet and greet, of course, the photo ops and stuff like that. Because, you know, during the weekend, we're going to be busy with the speakers and stuff. And, you know, like, I don't want people barbading everyone. Like, oh, can we take a selfie while people are speaking? Like this Friday night would be the opportunity for that. You
Okay.
know, especially, I don't want people being interrupted because these guys want to listen too, you know,
Right. Hey,
and
Judy, we
share
have to
things like,
wrap.
yeah.
But you know, anybody I put on the chat to email us at Native Paranormal Rangers to get the link, and you have somebody already interested already, and I will get back to you and get you the details of where this event is. And Judy, once again, thank you for being on the show. John, again, thank you for coming on. And you guys make it a great day and a great week. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. And it's coming up soon.
Yeah, it is.
We'll
We'll
start
see you
next
next week.
week.
We'll see
Yeah.
you next week. Looking forward to it.
Okay, bye everybody.